find me before bedtime. I will, Mama, he called as he flew out the door. His shoes clacked a familiar beat on the narrow wooden steps that provided the only means of passage from our third-floor room. Our building was situated in a row of tenements near the foul and ruinous sweatshops, where many of our neighbors worked for meager wages and hoped for a better life. Others, like me, were wives of sailors who depended upon the earnings their husbands might, or might not, bring home after returning from sea. The area was plagued with poverty and crime, but right now I didn't need to worry about Lucas going outdoors without me. The expectation of an extra piece of bread provided ample assurance that he'd go directly to Louise Adler's apartment. And Louise wouldn't permit him out of her sight without me. Mr. Brighton remained standing near the doorway, and though he gave no indication, I knew he wanted to be on his way. "I wish I came bearing better news, Mrs. Wilson, but—" His voice evaporated like a morning fog drenched with sunlight. "You truly believe my husband is dead?" My voice trembled, not so much from fear or sorrow, but from utter disbelief. "If the men didn't recover his body, how can you be certain?" He drew a step closer and touched my shoulder. "There isn't a person on the crew who believes your husband is alive, Mrs. Wilson. Had there been any hope, I would have waited before coming to call on you. I realize it's difficult to comprehend, but when there's a storm at sea, well, I don't want to go into the details. Suffice it to say that your husband was not seen after the storm. The ship's records reveal your husband boarded the ship in Martinique for the return to Baltimore. However, John Calvert, one of the sailors who's said to be a friend of your husband, reported he saw him wash over. In addition, the crew assures me they searched every nook and cranny of the ship, and he wasn't found after the storm." "So, you believe he was washed overboard during a storm, and there's no hope his body will be recovered?" My mind reeled as I attempted to digest the news. Could I truly believe Fred would never again enter this room in a drunken stupor and crawl into bed beside me at night? That he would never again shout profanities and strike me? That he would never again hurt Lucas with his odious words and deeds? I'm afraid so. He reached into his pocket and withdrew an envelope. "I know this doesn't in any way make up for the loss you've suffered, but we at Brighton Shipping hope this contribution will assist you and your son. Your husband's final pay is included as well." When I didn't immediately extend my hand to accept the envelope, he leaned around me and placed it on the dilapidated table. "Will you stay here in Baltimore? I'd be willing to help you find some sort of work." The man appeared befuddled and uncertain what more to offer. Yet it was likely he'd been required to perform this unpleasant duty on previous occasions. After all, sailors frequently were lost at sea, and many were injured or died in accidents on the wharves as well. Perhaps it was my lack of tearful emotion that baffled him. "I'm not yet sure what I will do, Mr. Brighton, but I doubt I'll remain in Baltimore." He cleared his throat. "Well, should you change your mind and desire my help locating work, you need only send word to my office, and I'll do what I can." With a final glance around the room, he took a backward step. "If there's nothing else I can do, I suppose I should get back to my office." When I rested my hand on the table for support and began to rise, he waved me back to my chair. "No need to get up, Mrs. Wilson. You relax and gain your strength." I wanted to explain that it wasn't the news of Fred's death